Kwame Diko was a man everyone in the land spoke about with love and respect. But his life didn't start easy. He was born in the small village of Nsumbe, where dusty roads passed through and big baobab trees stood tall. By age 12, Kwame had no parents left. His father, a blacksmith, had died in a workshop fire. 3 years later, his mother fell ill with a strange sickness and passed away too. There were no uncles, no aunties, no cousin to lean on. So Kwame was passed from one neighbor to another. He slept on floors, sometimes under beds. He often went to school with an empty belly, but he never complained. He had two rare gifts, a sharp mind and a heart big enough to carry others. Everyone in Nsumbe remembered him as the boy who would give even when he had nothing. One day, his classmate's sandal broke. Kwame took off his only pair of school shoes, the ones his mother had given him before she died, and handed them over. When the teacher asked why, Kwame said quietly, "I can walk without shoes, but he's younger. The stones will hurt his feet more than mine." That was the kind of child he was. Years passed. Kwame studied hard. He kept winning prizes at school and helping others after class. Then one day he received a full government scholarship to study economics at Aduku University in the capital. He packed his small bag and left Nsumbe with nothing but hope. After university, he got a job at a transport firm in Cape Town. He started as an assistant but quickly became the one everyone depended on. But Kwame was not the kind to stop at enough. By 30, he launched his first company, KD Haulage, with 2 rusty lorries he bought from auction. The business took off like wild Harmattan wind. From trucks, he moved into farming, from farming into property, from property into tech. Within years, the orphan from Nsumbe had become one of the youngest millionaires in Bantuta Republic. But it was never just about money for him. People called him the giver. He built schools in villages where children still learned under mango trees. He paid hospital bills for strangers. He brought boreholes to dry towns. He sent food trucks to flood victims before the government even showed up. When asked why, Kwame would always say, "When the river lifts you, you must become a stream for others." The radio praised him. Churches prayed for him. Young men pasted his quotes on their room walls. But behind this great man stood a quiet queen, Nia, his wife. Nia was beautiful, not in a loud or showy way, but like morning light over still water. She didn't enjoy cameras or the flash of crowds. Her beauty was soft, her voice gentle, her presence calm. Kwame met her many years ago at a youth business forum in Sarika. He had been invited to speak. Nia was there as a student, working on her master's degree in business. While others giggled and took pictures, Nia sat in the front row, eyes fixed, writing in her notebook. After the event, Kwame walked straight up to her. "You were the only one truly listening," he said. "That must mean something." She had smiled, not shyly, but with the kind of quiet confidence that made him look twice. That day began their slow, private love story. They courted in silence, far from noise. 2 years later, they married in a small garden surrounded by friends, elders, and a few nosy reporters outside the fence. A year after the wedding, Nia gave birth to their daughter, Zina. 3 years later came their son, Tondo. After Zina was born, Nia wanted to return to her dream, opening her own interior decor business. She had contacts, she had plans. But one evening, as they sat under their courtyard tree, Kwame held her hand and said, "My Nia, I can take care of us. I want you to breathe, to rest, raise our children. When they grow, I'll build you the biggest company you've ever imagined. I promise." And she trusted him. So Nia stayed home. But she did not sit idle. She ran the house like a company boss. She planned every meal, managed the tutors, supervised drivers, paid the staff, organized every event, edited her husband's speeches when he was busy. She was quiet, but powerful. She never felt like a housewife. She felt like a queen in her own kingdom, and Kwame never failed her. He gave her what she needed: a new Niger-made SUV, gold necklaces from Kumasi, Ankara dresses from Abidjan, weekend getaways to Lake Matembe, a monthly allowance that made her smile in her sleep. Nia was content, as long as her children were smiling and her husband returned home each night. She needed nothing more. Until the morning everything broke. That day, Kwame was in his study, reviewing the latest update on a hospital he was building in Kasoro district. Only the roof and beds were left. He walked into the kitchen and found Nia packing food into a cooler. "You don't have to do this yourself, you know," he joked. She laughed and said, "Better I do it than you stop on the roadside and eat." "Nonsense." He kissed her forehead as she sealed a bag of roasted plantains, dried cashews, and his favorite Zobo juice. "I'll be back before sunset," he said. "Call me when you arrive, and drive safe." "I always do." She walked him to the gate. As always, he turned to wave before getting into the black pickup. The children waved from upstairs, then he drove off, and that was the last time they ever saw him alive. Nia was folding clothes in the bedroom when her phone buzzed. The house was peaceful. Zena was downstairs helping the helper with lunch. Tando was asleep, tired from watching cartoons all morning. The sun outside was soft. The breeze was light. She saw an unknown number on the screen. At first, she almost ignored it. But something deep in her chest said, "Pick it." She answered, "Hello?" There was a short silence. Then a man cleared his throat. "Good afternoon, is this Mrs. Nia Diko?" "Yes." "Who is this?" "My name is Dr. Boma. I'm calling from Yuri General Hospital." Nia stood upright. Her heart slowed like it didn't want to hear what was coming. "Yes, doctor, is everything all right?" "I am sorry. There has been a bad road accident. Your husband, Mr. Kwame Diko, was involved. The vehicle lost control near the valley bend. We did all we could," he paused. But her knees gave way before he even finished. "I'm sorry, madam. He didn't survive." The phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. For a long time, Nia didn't move. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just sat there staring at the wall. His last wave at the gate played again and again in her mind like a haunting drumbeat. By evening, people had started coming. The yard filled with people in dark clothes. Men in agbadas, women in black wrappers, old neighbors, pastors, journalists, even strangers who had only heard of Kwame's kindness. But Nia didn't see any of them. She sat in the sitting room, a white scarf tied on her head, eyes empty. She didn't want to speak. She didn't want to eat. She didn't want to see her children. The next day, the body was brought back home, but Nia refused to look at him. "Take him to the cold room," she said flatly. "But madam," the family elder tried to explain. "I said take him away." She got up, walked inside, locked the bedroom door, and finally collapsed. Her wail was not human. It sounded like something tearing from inside. For 3 days, people kept coming. They brought yams, envelopes, funeral cloths. They asked her to help plan the burial, but Nia couldn't move. Not yet. When the visitors left and silence came back to the house, she finally got up. It was time to know what Kwame had truly left behind. She entered his study. The room still smelled of him, wood polish and cocoa butter. His desk was neat. His files were stacked. She opened drawers, one by one, looking for his will. She checked the metal safe. Inside were account books, a few US dollars, land documents, but no will. She called Mr. Sefu, Kwame's old lawyer. He arrived with a black bag and a tired face. "I know this is hard, Nia, but let's go through it." She nodded. "What did he leave for us?" Sefu opened his bag and sighed. "That's the problem. Kwame never wrote a will. He always said, 'I still have time.' Everything was in his name. Nothing is listed under inheritance." Nia stared at the lawyer. "What about the houses, the trucks, the farms?" Sefu looked away. "Most were leased, rented. The business account is almost empty." Her eyebrows tightened. "But he had so many projects. He sent money to 5 hospitals, paid fees for almost 200 students last month. He gave more than he saved. She blinked slowly, as if trying to breathe through heavy smoke. What, about the land in Kambu village? He already donated that for a school. And the apartment in Lecco Heights? It's still under bank loan. If one payment is missed, the bank takes it back. Her mouth opened, but no words came. So, you mean Kwame, the great giver, left his children with nothing? Sifu nodded sadly. He lived on cash flow. He believed in impact, not in wealth storage. Naya stood there, then slowly sat on the cold tile floor. For a long time, she said nothing. That night, she tiptoed into the children's room. They were fast asleep. Zina hugged her toy lion. Tando's leg hung off the bed. She watched them like a ghost. Then she returned to her bedroom. She took down Kwame's framed photo from the wall and flung it across the room. The glass shattered. "You lied to me," she cried. She screamed like a lioness in pain. "You told me to rest. You told me to trust you. I gave you my youth, my time, my dreams. I stayed home. I raised our children. I stood behind you while you built everything. And now you've left us with air." She tore open his wardrobe, yanked out his suits, pulled down the curtains, tossed the bed sheets. "You gave the world everything but left your house empty." Her voice cracked. "How do I feed these children now? How do I pay rent? How do I buy uniforms or sugar?" Tears soaked her wrapper. "You ruined us, Kwame. You left us naked." Then, in a whisper, she said something terrible. "I curse you, I swear, I will never bury you." The next day, people asked, "Has a burial date been set?" But Nia stayed silent. The elders came, trying to pick a day. She didn't come out. The morgue kept calling. She didn't answer. When they finally reached her, she said, "Leave him there. If you run out of space, toss him in the bush." Her best friend Ayo came to visit. "Nia, you can't mean that. Don't speak about that man. He was your husband. He lied. But he's gone now. Then let him rot." "Nia, I mean it. If they don't remove him soon, I will drag him to the forest myself." Soon, everyone heard. Some said she had gone mad. Others said grief was eating her. She didn't care. The betrayal had sunk, deep like a spear in her chest. Then one night, Kwame came to her in a dream. He stood in the hallway wearing a white wrapper. His eyes were red. His lips trembled. "Nia," he whispered, "please, let me rest." She looked at him coldly. "Rest? While I carry this pain alone?" She turned and walked away. He came again the next night. "Nia, the dead do not sleep when the living hold them hostage." She poured water on him and slammed the dream door shut. Then others began to see him. The gatekeeper dreamt of him, barefoot by the fence. The gardener saw him walking through the compound, dripping rain. The maid, Mama Jaja, screamed from her sleep after dreaming of him lying on the floor begging, "Help me, talk to her." Each time they told Nia, she waved her hand. "He can appear to the moon for all I care." But then one night, little Zina had a dream. She was lying on her raffia mat, hugging the toy lion Kwame gave her on her birthday. She missed him. She didn't understand why everyone was so sad. But she could feel it. Her mother's silence, the shouting, the long phone calls that ended with angry tears. That night, in her dream, she stood in their backyard. The sun was bright, but everything was silent. No birds chirped. No wind moved the trees. Then she saw him. Kwame, under the old udala tree near the back fence. He wore a white tunic and trousers, but he looked tired, weary. He knelt before her. His eyes were heavy with sorrow. "Zina," he said, "Daddy is so sorry." She didn't speak. "I thought I had more time. I wanted to do more. I never meant to leave you, or your brother, or Mama." "Then why did you go?" she asked, her voice small. "It wasn't my choice," he said. "It happened. Fast, I didn't have time to prepare." "Mama is angry," she said. "I know," he whispered, "but I cannot rest. I walk and walk. But there is no light, no door, only darkness. I need her to forgive me. I need her to bury me. Zina, please beg her for me. He took her tiny hands. Tell her I never meant to hurt her, that I still love her, that I love you, and Tando. And even if you don't see me anymore, I will still be close. Then like a candle blown by wind, he disappeared. The next morning, Nia stood in the kitchen holding a cup of warm cocoa, lost in thought. Zina came in, climbed onto the bench beside her, and gently touched her hand. Mama? Yes? Zina smiled. Daddy came to me last night. Nia froze. What? In my dream? He was wearing white. He said he can't rest. He walks in darkness. He said he's sorry. Nia sat down slowly, her hand trembling. Zina moved closer. He said he didn't want to leave us. He said he still loves you, and me, and Tando. Nia's eyes watered. He said you should forgive him and let him go. Zina placed her hand on her mother's. Please, Mama, let's bury Daddy. He's tired. I will be okay, she added. He promised. That was it. The wall inside Nia broke. She didn't cry with rage this time. She wept with release. She held Zina tightly and cried like a baby. What he did was unfair, Nia whispered. He left us with nothing. Zina smiled through soft tears. That's not true. He left us with love, and he said we will never lack. Please, Mama, let's bury him. Nia finally nodded. Okay, she said. Okay. Word spread quickly. The widow has agreed. The date was chosen. The venue moved from the village to a big city garden, so all the people who loved Kwame could come. And when the day came, Nia stood under a white tent dressed in a simple wrapper. Her children stood beside her, both in white too. At the gate was a large framed portrait of Kwame. The choir sang gently. Birds flew over the trees. The air smelled like fresh earth and flowers. Nia had expected many to show up, but when she looked, she was stunned. They came in thousands, old men and women with walking sticks, young men in dusty slippers, mothers with babies tied to their backs, market women, bishops, mechanics, journalists, bus drivers, pastors. They filled every corner, and one by one they took the microphone and spoke. He gave me my first loan, with no interest. He paid for my daughter's heart surgery. He built the well in my village. He sent me monthly money for my sick son. He bought me a van to start my business. Tears ran down Nia's cheeks. She had loved this man, lived with him, cooked for him, but she never knew just how much he gave away. Then, near the end of the service, an old man walked forward. He held a small envelope. My name is Papa Bako. I am a retired teacher, he said. 10 years ago, Kwame bought land for me when I lost everything. He told me, one day give to someone else. He turned to Nia. Please accept this envelope. It is the title deed to a market plaza, my way of honoring the promise I made to him. It now belongs to you and your children. Nia's hands trembled, but more came. A woman stepped forward. Your husband paid for my university education. I now lead a school. I will sponsor your children, all the way to university. Another rose. He saved my farm. Today I will give your family a truck and food for 1 full year. Another stood. He believed in my salon when no one else did. I now own 5 shops. For the next 5 years, I will donate 10% of my profit to you. A lawyer offered free legal services. A businessman gave her a new SUV. The sun was beginning to set. The Baiki, woman who had once said she would throw her husband into the forest, now stood with tears in her eyes, her arms full of gifts, her heart full of peace. The grave was ready. The white coffin was lowered. Nia held her children's hands, dropped to her knees and whispered, Kwame, you didn't leave us with nothing. You left us with everything. I forgive you. I release you. Sleep well. She looked around her, at the crowd, at the lives Kwame had touched, at the seeds he had planted, and finally, she understood. Even in death, he had given them a harvest. Weeks passed. The plaza now gave her rent money. Nia finally started her home decor business, her lifelong dream. Zena and Tanda went to one of the best schools. They grew into smart, kind, grounded children. Every Sunday night, the three of them sat around the fire. They didn't talk about the man who left them with empty pockets. They talked about the father who planted blessings in secret. And now, you, listener, have heard this tale. Let this be your reminder. The greatest inheritance isn't always money. It is the kind of life you live and the kind of love you leave behind.